All right, so we're going to begin now. Um, so we want to start by just settling in for a moment, kind of collecting ourselves, getting mind and body together. And we want to generate our bodhicitta motivation. So bodhicitta is Sanskrit word. Bodhi means awakened or enlightened. And citta means the mind and heart together. So bodhicitta literally means enlightened mind, heart. But what it signifies is the wish to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. If that seems a bit too much, that's okay. If we can just think, may this time we spent together this morning benefit not only ourselves, but others as well. Ansanda Samgarab Shiri Sampamakarajavani Shuna Susunaknata Dankasaso. Katanamanam Nasawade, Uminchiki Pudrone, Dusosegi Kungi Mawani, and Samshagan Sunta Sepa, Sawinamisha Plaso. So today I want to discuss the Walk for Peace. Are you guys familiar with that? Not everybody. Okay, so hi, come on in, have a seat. Push that chair over there, yeah. Thank you. There you go. So are you guys aware of this Walk for Peace? Is what I asked you. So some of you are not. So there is a group of, hey Melina, there's a group of Buddhist monks, about 20 Buddhist monks, who have been walking from Texas to Washington, D.C., which is 2,300 miles. And with their dog, Aloka, who is super cute. And their aim is to raise awareness for peace, loving kindness, and compassion across America and the world. They're right now in South Carolina. So if you're interested in seeing them and seeing more about them, they have their own Facebook page. They're on, they're all over social media. They have a website. They have, they're on Instagram and probably more. I don't know all the things. And even their dog has an account. So Aloka, the peace dog. So I don't know how I came across them. I just something on social media probably. And my first question when I learned of them and started watching these videos and seeing the public's reaction was, why are people so moved by this? Because there's thousands of people coming to see them. There's people being very emotional, crying, and just overcome in their presence. So I was wondering, like, why, right? Why are they so moved? Like, what are people searching for, right? Um, so the monks are simply walking, and when they stop for a break or meals, they give a short teaching. They're not trying to convert anyone. The teachings are about being peaceful, being mindful. They're not fighting anything. They're not protesting. They simply want to raise awareness for compassion and peace and so forth. Yeah. And as I said, thousands are coming to see them, right? Some for the likes, right? They've even asked like so-called influencers to, just come when they stop and not follow them with the camera in their face sort of the whole time. So um, some as tourists, right, is sort of like the thing to do, and when they're in or near your town to go and see them. But um, some to try to convert them to Christianity. So that's interesting. Um, and just a moment about that because people have been very, I mean, so the situation is that in several places that they go, they have those preachers with the big signs, and a megaphone, and they're disrupting the teachings, they're disrupting the walk, and things like that. Okay. And so people, of course, that is not skillful, and it is um, not respectful. But from the Christian's point of view, at least some of them, I think that it's their way of showing compassion, you know? If you really believe that someone is going to burn in hell for all eternity if they don't accept Christ, then you want to help them. If you have compassion, you want to help them, you want to save them. And I think it's like a good motivation, but without wisdom. Yeah. Unfortunately. And, I saw that one discourse with one of these preachers, and the monk walked up to him and was saying, we got your message, we see it, and we've heard you, and like it's okay. And this preacher was saying, yes, but I'm trying to save you from hell, and you're going to hell. And the monk said, that's okay, we can go to hell. It was so nice. And he was just trying to tell him, like, we hear you, and you can kind of leave us alone now. But I think that it's wrong to sort of generate hate over these preachers coming, because it's like completely the opposite of what these monks are trying to accomplish. So it's a challenge, right, to see that with a peaceful heart and with compassion, and not just immediately start insulting, criticizing, and stuff like that, even though it can be tempting. So anyway, but the vast majority that I've seen anyway, it looks to me like they seem to be very sincere. Yeah. They are moved to the point of tears, as I said. They're offering the monks food and flowers and gifts. They're offering medical care, and hot meals, even treats and clothes and vet care to Aloka. Yeah, which is really nice. This dog is so cute. Um, they found him in India. They did a similar walk in India, and Aloka was just a stray dog that started following them. And it was just like, I'm with you now, So they took him back to the States. I think I haven't been able to find actual information. I think they live in Texas in a monastery there. I'm not sure. And I think most of them are from Vietnam or Laos. So it's the Theravada tradition. Anyway, they brought Aloka over, and he's with them, and every once in a while they put him in the truck, to so he doesn't have to walk so much, and he doesn't like that at all. He's very upset about that. He wants to be with them. So, and one news report called the dog Alcoa. So it's like, don't they make foil? Not sure. So, so I'm wondering, like, okay, one of the most frequent things that the monks say in their teachings is, today is my peaceful day. And they encourage people to say that in the morning, and to try to be peaceful. And I found that quite interesting because it's not fancy, it's not elaborate, it's not high philosophy. It's just a call to do simple things to bring peace in the world, you know? And it's a recognition that the individual makes the collective. Yeah. And I think that's something that we forget very often. We think of like the city or like the government as a kind of separate entity from a group of individuals. And it's important to remember that, because we're not going to have peace in the world if we are not peaceful ourselves, right? There's a whole kind of culture that we create that can be either peaceful aggressive, right? Um, so if we as individuals cultivate peace in our own minds, in our own hearts, in our own homes, that goes a very long way to creating peace in the world. Yeah. Um, so how can we cultivate this peace? That's the next question. It's easy to say, cultivate peace. Today's my peaceful day. But like if we're not working with our habits of anger and judgment and jealousy and all that stuff, it's going to be really hard to keep that going, right? This is one of the things that I find so wonderful about Vajrayana or Tibetan Buddhism, or Buddhism in general, actually, sorry, is that there is a method, right? So I grew up Catholic, and it's not a criticism of them, but just to say, like, there's a lot of thou shalt not, right? And I'm like, okay, you know, I want to love my neighbor as myself. I want to love my enemy, but I really don't, you know, I can barely like them. So how am I supposed to do that? Right. And I have a lot of anger and this kind of thing. And I was just told to pray for patience. Right. Maybe that works for some people, but it didn't work for me. So I was very happy when I first encountered Buddhism in Thailand to discover that there was a method, which is meditation. Yeah. Study, contemplation, and meditation. And through these methods, we can create different habits from the habits that we have. And we have a tendency to think like, to be very narrow and limiting, and to feel like, well, this is just the way I am and I can't change. But through the teachings and through meditation, we see like, no, we can create other habits. Yeah. So instead of the habit of anger, we develop the habit of patience. Yeah. So it's a matter of training the mind, working with the mind so that we develop more skillful means, yeah, than what we've had uh, to date. So mindfulness of breathing meditation is one of the best ways. Yeah? Through mindfulness of breathing practice, we become aware of what's happening in our mind, right? Um, and it's one of the best ways to relax into the present moment. Yeah? Um, and it's again through that we can connect with our own inner wisdom and compassion. So Buddhism starts from the point of view of something called basic goodness, or is most often called Buddha nature, but I really try to avoid that because it really has nothing to do with the Buddha or Buddhism. Like everybody has this, okay? And the idea is that w- we're fundamentally good. We have all the qualities of enlightenment within us already. And walking the path is a matter of removing the veils to recognizing that, to seeing that. Yeah. So through meditation, it's we can connect with those qualities within ourselves and start to, I don't know, side with that part of ourselves, right? Rather than our old habits of knee-jerk reactions of anger or what have you. Yeah? Then there's a practice called Tonglen, which is the practice of exchange, um, which is another way to cultivate peace. It focuses specifically on compassion. So in that practice, what we do is we take on the suffering of others and offer them our own happiness, which is the opposite of what we normally want to do, right? We want to, you know, get the biggest piece of pie and, um, cut others in line, and we're putting ourselves first usually without realizing it, just because it's the habit that we have, and it's not doesn't make us bad evil people. Okay, it's just a habit that we have, so we're just changing that habit to put others first. and to think about others, at least to be aware of others. Yeah. We tend to go through life with these sort of blinders on, yeah, and our very kind of narrow view. So this is an antidote to that. And then cultivating peace by slowing down. So this is one of the things the monks ask. They ask that we slow down to pay attention and stop trying to multitask. I'm like, you don't know my life. But but it's true. We actually studies have been done that like multitasking is you're not multitasking. It just makes everything worse. It's so much better just to do one thing at a time, you know. But we're like even multitasking in our entertainment. Yeah. We're watching TV and on our phones at the same time, right? This kind of thing. So if we're like that and we're sort of like that all the time, um, we're just scattered, where the mind is really scattered and we like add a lot more tension, unnecessary tension to our lives, like when there's already tension that we can't really avoid, right? So, you know, reading the news is very stressful. Yeah. This is something we can't necessarily change overnight. This kind of thing. And constantly being distracted by someone's phone who just rang. Who was that? I forgive you, my child. So, um, yeah. So, when we are harried with our minds going in 1,000 directions at once, we're more likely to be short with others, right? We're more likely, as I said, to be scattered and tense. When we slow down, when we make our life a little quieter, do one thing at a time, we create a space in the mind and in our lives, really, of calm and peace, and even for compassion. Yeah. One of the ways that we act um, when we're not compassionate, it's doesn't come from like an active wish to harm somebody. It comes from like not noticing the other person and wanting whatever we want for ourselves. Yeah. So the example I always give of that, and I'm sorry to those who've heard this a million times. If you have a better example, please tell me. Because anyway, is is when you're in the grocery store, yeah, and you're very tired. You went to the store after work, and your cart is loaded, and you're about to go to the checkout, and you're like scoping out the shortest line, right? And then you start to go what you think is the shortest line, and you see somebody out of the corner of your eye going to the same line. What do you do? Yeah, you speed up. You speed up. And it's not, you're not thinking at that point, I want that person to have to wait. You're not thinking about them at all. That's the issue. We're just thinking of ourselves in that situation, which is like, it's a very small example. It's not like something that's going to send you to hell. Okay. But it's just a small, easily understandable example of how we put ourselves first and can act in ways that are not really compassionate just because we're just thinking of ourselves. We're sort of being self-focused, yeah. Which is normal, but it's a habit that we can change through practicing and studying and so forth. Okay, so I want to ask you, why is the monk's simple act, this act of walking across America, and this simple teaching so moving to people? What do you think? Liz, she said, I think we need it right now. Okay, and how? Because there's so much anger, chaos, anger, and hatred going on. Okay. Yes, Heather. So Heather said that that for a long time our culture has been focusing on uh, profit and productivity, and people feel like they don't need spirituality at all, and then they realize they do need that. Is that a good summation of what you said? Okay, Billy. Mhm. Billy said he thinks it's because it's such a big contrast with how our lives normally are, and that just to see someone just taking a walk and being present is something we wish we could do. Oh, I think I'm probably blocking the microphone. I hope you guys heard me. Um, um, something we wish we could do. And so it becomes kind of this emotional release when you see other people doing this act. Is that a good summation? Did I miss anything? Tim, Tim. Again, maybe at the risk of just really worrying, kind of. State that feels like it's a clear purpose that the monks are like devoting themselves to, and a lot of people are missing that, whether they realize it or not. And so even said, like when we discussed about slowing down, being mindful, and things like that, and even the people who have been negative towards what the monks are doing, there's something there about like wishing we could do that too. Who else? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, what's your name? Mara? Mara? Okay, yes, Mara. Community side of things take long relationship, for example, but it's not bringing other people to tears. I wonder if it's that. So Mara is mentioning the communal aspect of that, that we don't really have community, and that this is creating community, or is a community, and so that is inspiring to people. Then I want to just read a couple comments here. So people in the chat, people in the chat, I can't believe I even said that. Um, feels weird. People in the chat. Say walking helps the mind stop, which is true. And then Melina says personal sacrifice, simplicity, kindness, inclusion, caring enough about these basic values that they'll put themselves in such a vulnerable position to spread the message of peace and love. That's inspiring. I already forgot your name. Sorry, in the back. Stephanie. Oh, Stephanie said having people, she reiterated the points about community, and then added that um, people coming together for a positive message. Is that right, Lucy? Don't be too what? Don't be too what? Beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. So Lucy reiterated the point about community, but also added that this I don't know how to summarize what you said. Can somebody help me? Lucy, what? Sorry. Okay, this is becoming a Three Stooges. Summarize what you said. Okay, I remember now, sorry. So she's Lucy was saying it's connection, and it's also seeing like that there's another way to be, right? That we don't have things don't have to be the way they are. There's another way to be. Yeah, it's a great point. Anybody else? Another comment here. During the journey, one of the monks was, yes, I'm going to talk about that. So I'm going to wait on talking about that. Anybody else? Yes. Messaging, but we need more. We don't have another corner. We need to change our life. Only ways to get what we want, but these monks are showing the communities that they're going through that where we want to be connected, be quite simple. Yes, yes. So, and Mara was talking about, oops, sorry, what? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Mara was talking about how it's simple, that is, it's modeling kind of a type of simplicity that, we're always told like we need more and we need to complicate things. And here's something that's very simple, though it might not be always easy, which is true. Then Tess said selfless, that it is selfless. I mean, you see some images of their feet, like some of them are walking barefoot, and it's really incredible. And now we go to Luba. Oh, I wonder, is this the Luba that I've known for a very long time? Let me know. Um, so she brings up that during the journey, one of the monks was injured in a car accident, and his leg was amputated. And this was an accident, as far as I'm aware. It wasn't something done on purpose, but they've had car, like, because they're walking along the highway, so they have not all the time, but a lot of the time, so they have like police escort now. And I don't know if this was a police escort or if it was closer to the beginning. Maybe it wasn't police, but there was a lead car anyway in front of the monks. And this truck, I don't know why, just kind of plowed into that lead car, and the lead car kind of went backwards and into one of these monks, and he ended up having to have his leg amputated. So that in itself has been something quite inspiring. Hey, Luba, hey, I hope to see you in person one of these days. Luba's been around forever. Um, so anyway, he had to have his leg amputated, and his response and his reaction since has also been very inspiring to people. You know, not reacting with anger and not reacting with self-pity, just understanding and accepting like this is the way things are. And also he even sees it as a good thing, because he says that there wasn't a lot of attention on this walk until that accident. And so he sees it as a kind of, positive thing that brought so much attention to the monks, right? Um, so, um, all right, that's good. I'm happy to hear all these different perspectives. Um, so I have some things to add to that. I've made my own list. I think the other thing is this kind of constant barrage of bad news that we're subjected to. And this is something so positive, like some of you actually mentioned, it's kind of like a breath of fresh air, you sort of, oh, and sort of stops your mind. And I think also like the thirst for anything, for something, for anything honest and authentic. Yeah. We're sort of, and that goes to again to what some of you were saying, kind of, barraged by um, I don't know how else to say it, fake news. We're now it's like AI everywhere. Um, there's people pretending to be sincere, but are scamming you. It's just on and on. We see these kind of things, or people who are supposed to be spiritual but are abusing you know, people in their congregation or children, this kind of thing, right? So we can feel very kind of beleaguered by all of this negativity. And then to see this really simple, sincere, authentic act is inspiring uh, as a, opposite of kind of what we're normally exposed to. Um, yeah, so I think in brief, what I had written here was we're hungry for peace, simplicity, love, compassion, wisdom, and community. Yeah, and I think these kind of represent all of that. So, what do we do now, right? Um, excuse me. Um, has anybody here seen these monks in person? That's what I thought. We're quite far away from where they are. They're not coming through here. So, none of us in this room. I don't know if anybody who's watching or will watch this video has seen them in person, but we don't have to see them in person. Yeah, the teaching is clear, um, but we don't want to just leave that on the table. You know, if a message like that is so inspiring to people, if this action of walking across America for peace is so inspiring to people, it's a shame if we just leave it there. And eventually, this will not be in the news cycle. It will not be on social media. I mean, I think they're ending like mid-November, mid-February or something. Which, like, walking through northern America in mid-February, I'm not so sure about that. But anyway, Washington D.C. is not in the South. That's true. But they'll be there at the end of their trip. So yeah, yeah. Um, so we want to be able to do something with that, right? Um, so what can we do as individuals? Cultivate peace in our own hearts, in our own minds. Yeah, thank you. Um, um, thank you. Do you want to close that door actually while you're up? Thanks. So, how can we develop peace in our own hearts and our own minds? Through meditation, through studying the Buddhist teachings, or through prayer and other means offered in other spiritual traditions, right? We don't have to be Buddhist to try to cultivate these things. But as I said earlier, there are methods within Buddhism that are really helpful for that. And so there's things that we can practice and learn about without ever having to be Buddhist or being interested in becoming Buddhist. Okay, it's not about converting. And that's the other thing with these monks, like they're not trying to convert anybody, you know. So let's start with meditation right now. Okay. Okay. So if you're in a chair, like everybody here, you just want your feet flat on the floor. If you at home are sitting on the floor or on your bed, you just want to cross your legs in whatever way is comfortable for you. Otherwise, all the instructions are the same. So we can have our hands either palms down on our knees or on our thighs, or palms up, resting one on top of the other like that in our lap, or with our fingers on top and our thumbs touching like that in our lap, whichever is most comfortable for you. The arms are relaxed, so you're not holding them out, you're not pressing them in, just relaxed at your side. The spine is straight. This is actually the most important, that the spine is straight. So you want to make sure that you're sitting straight, but not with tension. So not like you're in the army, right? Just straight. Back of the neck is also straight, so the chin's going to be tucked in a little bit. The shoulders are back, so normally I just roll my shoulders back one time. It kind of opens up the chest. Mouth is closed but relaxed, tongue resting on the roof of the mouth. We're breathing through the nose. Ideally, the eyes are half open, so we're looking down a few feet in front of us. If you're not comfortable with that, just go ahead and close your eyes, but over time, it's recommended that we meditate with the eyes open because it helps us to not fall asleep. It helps us to cultivate awareness in daily life, because if we can only be mindful with our eyes closed, we're going to be very limited, right? Plus, it affects different parts of the brain. So, however you wish to begin, if you do want to train from closing your eyes to keeping them open, then you can just do, close them for a little bit, open them for a little bit. When that becomes uncomfortable, close them again, and so forth until you get used to it. So that's the posture, and this posture specifically is the way it is because it aids the mind in meditation. So what we want to do is just bring awareness to the sensation of the breath coming in and out of the nose. So just sort of at the end of your nostrils there. So let's take a moment to do that so we know what we're talking about. Okay. So that's the focus of our attention. All right. Now, what we do with our mind is we just let the thoughts come and go. We're not trying to stop thinking. We're not pushing away the thoughts. And most importantly, we're not judging the thoughts. They're just there. We're just noticing them. If we want, when a thought arises, we can just say thinking and come back to the breath. So ideally, we're just letting the thought come. It'll dwell for a moment. It will disappear on its own, be replaced by another thought, dwell, disappear, etc., like clouds moving through the sky. If we do get caught up, totally normal. I just can get distracted. As soon as we realize we get distracted, simply bring the mind back to the breath. Okay? So let's begin there. I'll ring the gong to start and also to finish. I can begin to count the breaths, counting either every in breath or every out breath, or a total of 10 complete breaths. So the counting helps us to realize more quickly if we've gotten distracted, because we'll notice we lost count. So if we lose count. It's no big deal. Just bring the mind back to the breath. Start again at 1. We get to 10 without losing count. Don't let that distract you. Just start again at 1. So please begin that now. Bring the mind back to the breath. Relaxed, open, spacious awareness. Body should be as relaxed as possible while maintaining the posture. Mind should be as relaxed as possible while maintaining awareness of the breath. So this is a practice that we can do at home anytime. Um, Usually it's recommended we do it first thing in the morning, but if that doesn't work for you, you can do it during your lunch hour or when you come home from work before you start dinner or before you go to bed. Personally, I can't do it before I go to bed because I fall asleep immediately, but it might be different for you. You don't have to do it just once a day. You can do it several times a day. You can do it like Thich Nhat Hanh, was this great Vietnamese master. He had stoplight meditation, where instead of when you're at a stoplight, you're driving, instead of just being tense and like waiting to change, you can just take 3 deep breaths, and smile at this kind of stuff. So we can do a lot of things to bring peace to ourselves and to the world through simple things like that. So now we're gonna do the closing prayers. And um, I'm gonna share them on screen with you on YouTube, but you can look at your description box below, and there's a link for them there. We do long life prayers for the Dalai Lama and our teachers, and then we do some other short prayers. If you don't want to join in, that's perfectly fine, but if you want to, you're welcome. We do the long life prayers in Tibetan. You're welcome to read them in English, or join us in Tibetan. Okay, so we begin with the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Kanri wawe koe shinkan su pandan de wa malu chuene shenre si wan den sing yam so ye shape gel gaba tu tengyu shik, and then the one under. Om swasti jigme kempe kalo yambaru kunkap se chen se bundawa Nidra dun san nam ke no bucho se che yawe shakin su so. Om swasti se la gyam su chin lav chun jule Lunzin da se gu chu pe ma wang. San su na zhe gyao bo da tene. Lab chen ten de she tun dai ge shou. Lama kun kam san po so wa de. Chu tu gu se ring wa so wa de. Rine ta shin ge pa so wa de. Lama da dre wa me pa ching di lo. Now we do the dedication of merit, this first one on the left, and then we say that once in English and once in Tibetan. By this merit, may all attain omniscience, may defeat the enemy, wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of cyclic existence, may I free all beings. Sunam di tamche sipani, todne nye pe janam pamche shing, ke gana chi balon trupai, si pe sole drowa sho. Next three prayers we do just in English. May bodhicitta, precious and sublime, arise where it has not yet come to be, and where it has arisen, may it never fail, but grow and flourish ever more and more. As long as faith endureth, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. Ever absorbed in the display of divine forms and primordial awareness, appearance, sound, and perception in the state of divinities, mantras, and dharmakaya, may I, inseparable from the practice of the profound and secret great yoga, attain within the essence of mind the state of one taste. Then we do this mantra. Om Vajra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajra Sattva Tenopa Tishta Drito Me Bhava Suto Kayo Me Bhava Supo Kayo Me Bhava Anurakto Me Bhava Sawa Siddhi Me Prayasa Sawakam Sutta Me Chitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Savatata Kata Vajramame Munsa Vajribhamaha Samaya Sattva. Okay, so before I let you go, I do have some announcements to make. Uh, we're We have two classes. We have a continuing class called Walking the Spiritual Path, which is where we're studying the text Cutting Through Spiritual Materialism by Trungpa Rinpoche. That's on Wednesdays from 6:30 to 8. We have two more sessions left. You can sign up for those, either the third, the fourth, or both the third and the fourth sessions. In April, we'll be starting a class as part of our series, The Feminine Force in Buddhism. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be studying a text called Women of Wisdom, maybe in addition to another text, I'm not sure yet. We got a grant actually to have this program, so that's pretty cool. We have meditation every Saturday. Um, Second Saturday of the month is typically here, but it's always also on YouTube. So if you can't make it here, we're on YouTube, and then otherwise we're just on YouTube anyway. So just look for our channel, and it's at Buddhist Cleveland, so you can find us there. What else? Buddha days, certain days of the month, we do a sadhana, a practice called the Buddha sadhana. It's really beautiful. I really encourage you to come. All those days should be on our calendar. I think the next one is not tomorrow, but next Sunday at 11:30, and it's just half an hour. So if you want to, that's always on Zoom. So you can join us there. Um, mm, 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 um, if you would like to make a donation, we are very, very grateful for that. There's links again in the description box below here. We have a QR code that Carol Merrill is pointing to there. Does anybody remember Carol Merrill? She does. I know you're in. Carol Merrill, what is that? Price is Right? No. Make a deal. Let's make a deal. I think it was Let's Make a Deal. Anyway, it's Carol Merrill. I'll show you what the prize is. So if you're able to do that, that's great. If you're not able to, that's fine. But we do need money to continue offering the Dharma. So unfortunately, yeah, sign up for the newsletter. That's the best way to know what's happening. It's the quickest way. We do the newsletter before we even update the website. So if you want to know what's happening, right, you just go to our website. You can sign up for the newsletter if you're not already getting that. Um, if you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. I'm still embarrassed by that. Anyway, like and subscribe and comment if you can. The reason I'm asking for that is because it drives more traffic, to our channel. And then our goal is just to share the Dharma and the wisdom of the Buddha's teachings with others. So this is a good way of doing that. So if you're subscribing to a channel and liking videos and making a little comment, it doesn't have to be anything major, just any kind of comment you want to make is fine, as long as it's kind. I would appreciate that. Almost ugly and terrible. Okay, so thank you so much for coming out this morning. It's really great to see all of you here, and it's always nice to do things in person. Hopefully, we'll be able to do that again soon. Um, if you know of any place that's renting, and please let us know. And YouTube people, we'll see ya. See you later. Thank you also for being here. And I'm gonna